Hello again, and here we have the next installment of our Lamborghini V12 lineage. This is the Murcielago, and this was the first Lamborghini developed under Audi ownership. And that's apparent really pretty much in every aspect of the car. Technically, it's more advanced. Design-wise also, it makes quite a pronounced step forward. And you can see straight away from the design language, it's quite a departure from the Diablo and the Countach, even though it has kind of the same cab forward proportions and the sort of the very big, heavy rear end. So this was designed in-house by Lamborghini at Centro Stile, which at the time was headed up by Luke Doncovolke, the great Luke Doncovolke. And he kind of he kept a lot of the traditional Lamborghini DNA intact, but yet you can see that this is quite a step forward. In fact, I would say this car has more in common with the Lamborghinis of today than it did with even its Diablo predecessor. So yeah, you have a sort of much more modern design language. And I felt, personally, I always felt that Diablo was a bit too tail heavy. It just, the proportions didn't quite gel for me. But this, I think, is a much more balanced design. And also, you can tell that the build quality has made a big step forward because this car was designed using CAD-CAM, the first Lamborghini to use that. And that's apparent because all the shut lines, the finishing is much better than any Lamborghini before it. And this particular car is the Versace edition, of which only 20 were made. You could have it in black or white, and it had these sort of Versace signature touches, such as these sort of logos here, the upholstery also, and this car was offered also with matching luggage, again designed by Versace. And in the back here you have the 6.5 liter V12 in this case, which is good for 640 horsepower. In the SV 670, it was upgraded to 670 horsepower. But even with 640, this is a quick car. It's, I think, about over 1,700 kilos, but it still gets along very quickly. It has the paddle shift sequential gearbox, unlike the Lambos before it, which had the 3-pedal format, so makes it a lot easier to drive. And also the V12 is, in this case, is fuel injected, so it's a lot more tractable, a lot smoother, and also no doubt more economical than the Diablo. And where in the past you always had at least 4 tailpipes on V12 Lamborghinis, this has a single hexagonal pipe, which became kind of a Lambo V12 signature. It carried through to the Aventador. And yeah, you have this sort of nice, these sort of glass or see-through louvres, so you can see the V12 in all its glory. And yeah, inside the car, you can certainly hear it. But yet it's not, I wouldn't say it's punishing. It's a focused and hardcore car. It's fast, and it requires a reasonably skilled driver to get the best out of it. But very satisfying car. And I think without further ado, let's jump in and go for a spin. Oppa, limbo in. Alrighty, let's hit the road. So here we go in the Murcielago. This was the first car conceived fully under Audi ownership. And boy, you can really tell how much progress this car makes over its predecessors. It just feels so much more cohesive. It's easier to drive, and then of course, unlike all the earlier cars which were manual, this has the sequential shift with the paddles. Makes for a lot easier work driving it. Also feels very well planted on the road. Yeah, it's really well tied down, and but still lightning quick still. Let's get to a bit of an open bit and agile, because it's not a small car. It's wide, but still scoots along. So this was the early sequential gearbox, but still not bad. It actually feels smoother in this than in the Aventador. With the Aventador, it really kind of jolts your spine, but this is actually quite smooth. Well, maybe I spoke too soon, but yeah, you can see it's a lot easier to push this car with the Mura and the Countach. You have to exercise a bit more discretion, but yeah, this thing is a bit more user-friendly.